Hey, new year, new me, right? Welcome to the Manistee Local Podcast. There is a shitload of people that are on day 2 of being their best. And congratulations. You made it day 2. Keep going, keep going, keep going. You know, every year it's like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to lose 15 pounds. I'm going to whatever, not drink as much. I'm going to organize my house. I'm going to be more efficient. I'm going to have less clutter. I'm going to consume more. You know, I mean, for all the millions and millions of people out there that are trying to do better in the new year, you can do it. I know you can. I know you can. And, you know, it's hard. Everybody who said, I'm not going to eat junk food anymore or whatever, that, you know, you're getting to the office and Karen brought in a little dish of candy, a little dish of treats that have been laying around the house since the holidays, hoping that everybody at the office will eat them. Don't give in to temptation, okay? Don't do it. You can do this. You got this. That's your morning pep talk, okay? Because I'm going to do more in 24. I'm trimming the fat, folks. I'm calming the fuck down. That's what I'm doing in 2024. Like I've said many times in previous podcasts, I'm hitting the delete button. Delete, 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 delete. I'm pruning shit. I'm trimming it down. I'm focusing on surrounding myself with good humans. Hey, the people you hang out with, they're a direct reflection of who you are. So keep that in mind. I've got some of the best friends in the world, dude. The best. And they keep me in check. And I hope, to a certain extent, I keep them in check as well. Prune them. Delete the bad. Keep the good. Do the same thing with everything else you're trying to do in 2024. Trying to lose weight? Hey. Just stop snacking. That's the big thing. That's the big thing. Cut the mindless eating out. That's going to help quite a bit. For me, dry January. We're hitting it hard this year. We're going to start clean. You know, a couple weeks ago when I did that 72-hour fast, that was big. That was huge for me. And, you know, since then I've already had a couple of cocktails. I already had a few beers. And, you know, hey, this episode is brought to you by Brandon Ball, broker owner of Dwelling Realty, Keller Williams, Northern Michigan. Are you looking to sell your home? Then look no further. When you list your home with Brandon Ball, you'll get a trusted advisor who will guide you through the entire selling process. With extensive knowledge of the local market, he'll help price your home competitively to attract the right buyers. And with proven marketed strategies, your home will be seen by the most qualified of buyers. With 17 years in the business, you'll have someone experienced who's on your side. Contact Brandon today to get started selling your home. 231-690-4981. That's 231-690-4981. Or Brandon at dwellingrealty.com. This episode is brought to you by Just Clean, Manistee's premier car wash located at 146 Cleveland Street or just north of the US 31 bridge. Choose their ultimate car wash, folks. That's what I always do because I can't stand my truck being dirty. And the ultimate car wash is the best. It includes a triple foam conditioner, ceramic coating plus wax, and a 60-second heated blow dry. Get in, get out, get looking fly, get the dirt and dust and grime off your vehicle. Choose Just Clean Car Wash of Manistee. We finished out 23 strong. We had a good New Year's Eve, had a couple of pops with the buddies, split a bottle of wine with Miss Thang, my beautiful wife at home. And now, you know, rolling solo for 2024. No drinky. Let's get through dry January. We're fighting a good fight over here, folks, because Daddy likes a nice IPA, all right? I like a really good Cabernet Sauvignon. You know, if I'm being really truthful. A nice, like, 4.5 ounce pour of Merlot. Like a really good bottle of Merlot. just kind of sets the mood, especially for me. You know what I didn't do this year? Because a lot of you know that I'm a little bit of a bubbly snob. I like a good champagne. And Betsy was still a little bit under the weather. She said, you bring a bottle of champagne home, I'm probably not going to appreciate it. So I opted not to. Because you know what? If I would have taken it home and she didn't want any, I would have taken that bottle right to the dome. And I would have woke up with a sugar hangover. It wouldn't have been good. So instead, a couple nice little pours. Got up in the morning. Went for a long run. It was nice. Started doing inventory at Manistee Beverage. And that has been a fucking... You don't really realize how much you have until you really dial in on like the count. So I did a lot yesterday. Got to finish it up today, but we'll get it in. We'll get it done. We'll bookend at least the fiscal part of 2023 and get ready to take on 24. Like I said, I'm flushing the toilet on 23. We had a lot of good shit go on. We built up quite a bit from the beginning of the last quarter till the very end. We had some things pop off. We sold the commercial real estate. Bells and whistles, everybody. Ding, 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 ding. That was big. It was big. It was a good deal. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'm happy. The buyer's happy. I think the buyer's happy. Should be happy. He's got big plans for the upstairs. We're excited for him. But I'm not going to speak to that process or to what his vision is. I'll leave that to him. Thinking about having the buyer on the podcast. I'm not going to drop any names, but there's a lot of you that listen, especially locally, that probably know who he is already. But good guy, good human, good family. It's going to be a good thing. And I'm excited for the property because the property needed somebody that had a longer vision for development. And I looked at it more as an investment. And I turned those chips in. So we move on. Beverage company's still going to be operating downstairs. We have a lease agreement, and we're happy with that. And things are progressing. Things are progressing in business and in family life and with friendships and all good things. Getting rid of the bad shit, cutting the fat, trimming it down, focusing on what's super important to me personally and in business. And I think 2024 is going to be a rad fucking year for my family, my friends, all the things, because I'm going into it super clear and focused. I know exactly what I want, and I know how to get there, which is pretty awesome because a lot of people, you don't know what you want. And if you have some idea of what you want, you don't know how to get there. And I wish I could give you the magic pill and tell you this is how I did it. But you know what? I just kind of woke up one day about 6 months ago and I made a decision. These are the things I would need to tick off my list. And I just started doing it. It's wild. I don't know. There's no magic potion. I'm not trying to say that I've got like this unique way of doing things and you should follow these steps because it's going to help you do it. I don't know. I just, one day, maybe it's when I turned 45, I was like, God damn, if you break down, and maybe that's like the whole midlife thing, maybe. Although I hope 45 isn't my midlife. But I know that once it started creeping up from 44 to 45, I knew that there was a change. There was a change happening in me. And I just had to follow my intuition. I was doing so much as fast as I could. I was just piling on more and more and more and more thinking that was the way to attain all the things that I wanted. But in reality, I had to learn to say no. And I had to start cutting things that made no sense, to me at least, anymore. Like, have you ever gone to a meeting and you sat there for fucking like an hour and a half and were like, we literally could have handled this in 2 emails? That's the kind of shit I'm cutting. If you, excuse me, if there's a meeting that you go to that's 2 hours long, there's a way to cut that down to an hour. If there's one you go to that's an hour long, there's a way to cut that down to half an hour. And those little half-hour meetings, those are fucking text messages. Okay? You guys got to figure that out. Time is what's important. And it's not about what you can do to fill up all your time. It's about what you can do to free up all your time. And that's what I've been focusing on since the very second I turned 45. And again, I don't know why that's like the magic number for me, like that birthday, why that made such a difference for me. But I had to just start, like I said, hitting that delete button. Delete. And it's freed me up to do so much more. And so much more of the things that I really enjoy doing, right? Like, I enjoy doing this. I enjoy it more when somebody's sitting to the left of me and we're having a conversation and I'm learning. Because I think that's, what gives me the most joy out of doing this podcast is learning from the person that's sitting to my left tell me their story. Those are the most fun, when I can be really engaged with someone at this table. They're telling me their story, and it's interesting to me. I hope it's interesting to you, but really what I'm trying to get out of this is kind of feeding my own internal interests about the humans that I have sit down at this table. And I hope you do like it as well. Because it would be kind of weird if I was just recording conversations and nobody was listening. But I appreciate all of you that listen or watch. Thank you. It frees me up when I hit the delete button. It frees me up to do this. It frees me up to do like those ridiculous 3-4 hour runs. But those are super meditative and I do love them. Even though, that they can get a little bit painful. It can get a little bit dark. It can be cold. It can be wet. It can be, snowing. Did a half marathon the other day in the wet snow. You know what I mean? It sucked. The weather sucked. There was some pain involved. Man, when it was over. I can't explain that to people that don't run. But for those that do, it's, you know what I mean? It's so good. It's so much fun. It frees me up when I hit the delete button to go on long gravel bike rides with my boys. And that shit's fun. Because it's not a race. But you're just out riding with your homies. And taking in the scenery. Like, for real. Not every one of you listens or watches this from the beauty of Manistee County in Michigan. And for those that don't, I'm sorry. But for those that do, we live in one of the most beautiful places in America. Manistee, Michigan is situated just fucking perfectly. Right on the shorelines of Lake Michigan. The little and the big Manistee. The wilderness that surrounds us, the trail systems that are out there, the gravel, back road riding, the summer athletics, the winter sports, the fishing, the hunting. I could go on and on and on. And we're out doing gravel bike rides and taking all that in and having fellowship on top of that. Yeah. Yesterday, went for a not a long walk, but a pretty decent walk with my 8-year-old and my beautiful wife. And we went for a 2-mile hike through some trails here in Manistee. And It was just cold enough, no wind. That cold air going in your lungs. You're surrounded by all this beauty, and you're walking these trails. And the wonder that's in your child's eyes when they're just like, wow, everything is so big, and it feels like we've been walking so long. It's hilly, and it's picturesque, and the sun's coming over the side of this like ridge, and it's shining down on this frosted, like just enough snow on the ground. It's just, I can never be a writer, though. I can't be as descriptive as I'd like to be, but you know what? It was pretty fresh looking. So, delete button, and I get to do all this shit. Know Me Racing. We're hitting delete buttons, and now I can focus a shitload more on the other company, Know Me Racing, and make the Run the Pier running event and the Rusty Fish gravel bike event bigger and better, more enjoyable for not only the athletes and the spectators, but for the race directors. If I can help ease the burden on my business partners, because hey, listen, they are at points in their life that are different than the point I'm in my life, right? They're in their 30s. I'm in my 40s. They don't have children. I've got 3. I've got a family that requires time, right? And they're working very aggressively in their careers. I'm fortunate that I don't live that corporate life. I used to have a real job. I don't anymore. And I fucking love it. But anyways, we're all focused on different things. I'm focused on trimming the fat, focusing on the things that I love, growing, these other businesses, and I have the ability to spend more time on it. It's weird, But if you wrap your head around it, they are really accountable to their corporate lives. And I get it. I was there before. I completely understand. I'm not accountable to anything like that. I'm accountable to me. I'm accountable to my team. I'm accountable to those I employ. But, I can navigate. I can control, alt, delete, all kinds of stuff all day long to get to where I want to be. So, and by the way, those events are going to be fucking sick. We are adding more races to Run the Pier. I've mentioned this in other podcasts, so forgive me if you're hearing it again. But, we've always had the 5K, and now we're going to have a 10, a half marathon, and a full marathon, and we're adding a little kids obstacle course race, which is going to be lit, and and it's all going to culminate in a big ass after party beer tent that's open to the public. We really got to figure out a way to kind of promote that aspect of it, to bring the people in that aren't participating in the race, because the beer tent's free. It's going to be sick. It's going to be sponsored again by Bell's Brewery, and we're going to have music. So think of it like a beer tent kind of atmosphere. There's going to be wonderful beers to have, and we're going to have some music, fellowship, food trucks, all the shit. But, just kind of trying to build it up more, So that's what's important to me. That's what I'm trying to accomplish. That's what I'm trying to get done. And I'm excited. Also, 2024, aside from all of that, which I think is the most important, I'm also going to continue to train, continue to eat well. I want to make sure that I'm keeping myself healthy as I move through 2024 and beyond. So I don't have any specific health goals. I do a pretty good job of trying to maintain my health all the time. So I think the biggest thing for me is that I do have some athletic goals I'm trying to achieve. I've got a marathon I'm doing in a couple of weeks, and I got to be honest, the training has been kind of fucking... Usually I just lace up and run, and depending on how I feel, I'll run a long ways, or I'll run a little bit, depending on how I feel. This is the first time in all my years of running that I've been like trying to stick to a plan. The plan's kind of fucking annoying, but I'm doing it. And to be honest with you, I've done the plan pretty much to a T. There was about 9 days there where I was sick, and I had to shut it the fuck down. I wasn't, you could probably hear it in my voice. I'm still a little nasally. But, so I missed probably 40 miles of running, which doesn't seem like a whole lot. 50 miles. But like when you're trying to stack on the miles, trying to stack on the distance to get yourself ready to run 27 miles, 26.2. Yeah, then I start getting in my head. See, in the old days, before doing these little plans, like I said, I've never done the plan before. All right, so like in the old days, it was like, just go fucking run. And I can run 15 miles. I can run 20 miles. I know that. But my training was always like, well, today I'm just going to run 10. And tomorrow maybe I'll run 20. And this has got me doing fucking like 5 miles, 8 miles, 20 miles. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's all that big of a deal, the difference there, the 5, 10 or whatever. But it is kind of that big of a deal because like when I want to run more than 5 miles, I want to run more than 5 miles. But I'm trying to stick to the program because it's a good program. It's a reputable program, and it's supposed to get you up and going. Because I really wasn't running a whole lot of mileage after the North Country Trail run at the end of August. I was just kind of picking away at my running, doing a lot more lifting, a lot more cross training, and that's typically how we do it in the past. About 6 months out from a big race is when I would start, kind of just blasting a bunch of miles and trying to accumulate miles and get those, legs used to doing hours of movement and carrying this load because, I'm not a little dude. I'm over 200 pounds, so carrying a frame like this for, over 3 hours to 4 hours of running can be a bit of a challenge. I'm not a skinny little fucker that can run, 7-minute miles for 26, right? Doesn't work that way. At least, doesn't work that way for me. So I do a lot of alone time out there, if you catch my drift. But, so I really want to focus more on, increasing my distance. So I'm going to get this marathon done in 2 weeks, and then I'm going to focus on really accumulating longer and longer, days out there running, a lot more mileage. I don't have anything bigger than a marathon on the docket for 2024, but I do have some goals to do some ultras in 25. So why not fucking just do one off the books? That's what I plan on doing. So this marathon I'm doing in a couple of weeks is, a lot of you already know, it's an off-the-books marathon, just for fun. Got some friends. We're going to run it. And we're going to start the new year with a 26.2 in January, and then I'm going to start training for an ultra, even though I'm not doing one, technically. But I'm probably going to run like a 30-mile day at some point this summer, and get that checked off my mental calendar that, hey, I did it, it's done. I did a 50-mile run walk when I was in the service, I barely fucking remember it, to be honest with you. I was telling my wife yesterday on our walk, I'm like, man, it has been over 25 years since I joined the military. It's weird to think that I did something 25 years ago. That was a pretty big fucking deal for me. You know, I went to Saginaw Valley State University, go Cardinals. And the only reason why I went there, I think, is because, I didn't have the best grades in high school. And they were like, yeah, fuck yeah, you can come here. So I did basically a semester there, and it was complete dog shit. Was not the best college student. Well, part of the problem was I didn't stay on campus, which I've encouraged my kids to do. Hey, stay on campus at least the first year, you know. I got an apartment with a buddy, and all we did was drink beer and eat pizza. I gained 40 pounds, and I was like, I want to do anything but this at some point. Like, well, I needed a drastic change. And for those of you that know me, you know, sometimes I make decisions a little too fast. But you know what? I joined the Air Force, and it was one of the best decisions I could have made for my brain, for my heart. Change the direction of my life. We'll save that for another podcast, though, because that could get a little deep. But it was good. It was good. I will say one last thing before I wrap up. I was going to take a deep dive into our local newspaper, the Manistee News Advocate's what businesses should open up in Manistee poll post. They posted the fucking thing 3 times, people, and the reason why they're doing that is because you're not listening. They want you to take the poll. They don't want you to comment 270 times the businesses that you'd like to see downtown. They don't want you to do that. They want you to click the link to the poll and take the poll. I'm sure that they'll take some of your comments into consideration, you know, when they come out with their, this is what we found based on the poll that we put out. Because it seems to me, as I look at this, that, you know, maybe nobody's taking the poll. Maybe everybody's just fucking commenting. But it's like in school when you're younger, they teach you that, you know, if you don't follow the directions, you know, there's nothing I can do. You got to put your name on the top, and you got to date it, right? These are just simple things. The very first thing it says is take our poll and tell us what businesses you should open up in Manistee. Well, I mean, you have to click it to go to the poll. Because nowhere in here does it say, leave us a comment and tell us what businesses you'd like to see in downtown Manistee. No, it does not say that. No. Take our poll. Not comment. But comments have been just one, real quick. I just got to say this. One comment, 2 words, exclamation point, women's clothing. So, women's clothing business downtown? Here's the deal, folks. Bring it down a notch. Chill the fuck out. You said you weren't going to talk about this. You said you were going to just... What are you doing, dude? There are a lot of businesses that probably would do well downtown. And in a lot of downtowns throughout all of the United States. But what you got to figure out is, do you want to support those businesses? Or do you just want to fucking buy something on the computer? There, I said it. We've had women's clothing stores downtown. We've had men's clothing stores downtown. We've had department stores downtown back in the day. You know why they're not here? because you're not shopping in them. You're shopping online. And don't fucking tell me you get it cheaper online. I can't. I'm not going to. I'm not going to do it. Peace and love in 2024. That's what I'm going to do. But honestly, if you're watching this and you saw that post from the newspaper, I hope you didn't comment. I hope you just went to the poll and put in there whatever, Whatever you want. Maybe you want like a pet store downtown. Well, that's going to rile some people up, Hey, remember back in the day when you go into like an actual pet store and there was like fucking dogs in cages? Wow. I am glad that shit doesn't happen anymore. But anyways, boy, this is taking a turn. Do more in 2024. Happy New Year. Make yourself the kind of person you want to be. If we all focused in on that, if we all did our absolute best to be the best versions of ourselves in 2024 and beyond, think of how fucking rad this world would be. Think about that. If we all did our best to be our best,